What's up, guys? Our wrestling podcast back at you with another episode. This is Dave Vicious along with Jess, the Total Package, Craig, the British Bulldog, the Nature Boy Joe, and Cuz, giving you our perspective on the world of professional wrestling. No inside sources, no ties to the industry, just stories from the diehards, sharing opinions with you. Can someone feed me today's topic?
Dave.
What?
Do you hear that?
I hear it.
Do you hear it?
What?
I hear voices in my head. And they talk to me. They understand. They talk to me.
No.
Yeah. They tell me things I want to... All right, just go. Do your thing. Sorry.
I don't know who that is. I don't
Randy Orton's fucking theme song.
I just want him to get upset. Randy Orton, legacy of... this is way different from what we're used to because why? Why is it different, guys?
Because the guy's still going.
He's still going.
And alive.
For audio fans, give us
Last time was
Apple,
Stone Cold.
Spotify, SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, and Google Podcast. Can you do us a favor? Watch our videos on YouTube at Our Wrestling Channel or at least on social media. Give us a follow on Instagram or Twitter at O.W.P 2019 or on Meta/Facebook at Our Wrestling Podcast. Because you always laugh, but Meta is coming. You can't resist.
I know. It's just funny. It's just funny.
You can't, it
I know
is
you're
what
being
it
a
is.
smart ass,
I can't.
like a
I'm not the one who
sarcastic-
changed the name. I'm just saying.
I know.
Can we talk about?
I think it's
Cuz is
Yeah.
that holiday sweater from this year, or have you had that for a while?
I think you bought it 4 years ago.
It's a perfect fucking holiday sweater for the time period we're talking right now in December 2021 and
Got Christmas
RKO.
lights behind me. You know,
Kudos.
I get the feeling by the end of this podcast, there's going to be some cigarette burn holes in that sweater.
Cigar burn. It's gonna be a big asshole.
Yeah. Sorry.
Big
And
asshole.
Jess is the one that actually wanted to do this because of it was kind of the impetus, and it kind of came out of nowhere. Randy announced it on Twitter, right, Jess, of the record that a fan was keeping of those pay-per-view appearances, and that kind of was the impetus of we should probably do this.
Yeah, I think this became a fan was just keeping track of his shit from what I remember reading on him. And then he's like, oh, I guess I broke this record. That's pretty incredible, actually. And then he broke another record the next day. And
on Raw. Yeah.
Dave has it in the notes. The Guinness Book of World Record recognizes him now.
That's awesome.
Oh wow!
And
Yeah,
Natalia.
I mean, it's a lot to say that that we're doing a legacy. Like, you know, that a guy's had pretty much a 20-year career. We're doing a legacy on him, and he realistically probably has at least 5, maybe 10 more years left in him.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy's in great shape. I mean,
Yep.
you know, a few minor, a few injuries here and there, but I mean, guy, looks
What's-
awesome, takes care of himself. I mean, easily another 5 years of wrestling.
What's crazy to think about too is if he's like a Stinger Flair, he's got another 20 years then because he's in his 40s only.
Well, let's jump into the legacy of Randy O. Let's get into the early life before wrestling. Randall Keith Orton was born in Knoxville, Tennessee on April 1st, 1980, the son of Nurse Elaine and professional wrestler Bob Orton Jr. He is the grandson of Bob Orton and the nephew of Barry Orton, both professional wrestlers. Orton attended Hazelwood Central High School, where he was an amateur wrestler. After graduating in 1998, he enlisted with the Marines. At the base, he received a bad conduct discharge in 1999 after going AWOL on 2 occasions and disobeying an order from a commanding officer. Under the Uniform Code of Military Justice, he was tried and convicted under a special court martial, subsequently spending 38 days in the brig at Camp Pendleton. Well, there's worse places to be if you're going to be in the brig.
Can we just stop and say that's probably typical Randy right there from the rest of his career of a guy like even in the
Great.
Marines signing up and
I love hearing it.
not willing to conform?
Yeah. I think he's like, no. His training and early career, he made his wrestling debut at 2000 at the Mid-Missouri Wrestling Association, Southern Illinois Conference Wrestling, MMWA/SICW. Thanks for that, Jess. That's some good note taking you got there. In St. Louis, Missouri, an offshoot in the historic St. Louis Wrestling Club headed by Sam Munchik. That's not right. Munchnik.
Mushnick. Yeah.
Mushnick.
Whatever.
There
Either
he
way.
trained by both the staff of the promotion and his father, Bob Orton Jr. So I want to kind of pause there because we're talking 2000. It's 2021 right now. Orton, I think we're going to talk about making his debut just a year later. He barely got into it in 2000 in mid-Missouri. And within a year, he's on the main roster of the biggest wrestling organization in the world. I don't know. I don't even know how to,
That's how good he is.
And
Nepotism.
yeah, he had connections, bro. That's what it was. Right? You know,
I bet he was
so
good.
but it's interesting, right? So in 2001, Orton signed a deal with the then World Wrestling Federation (WWF) and was sent to its developmental territory, Ohio Valley Wrestling (OVW) in Louisville, Kentucky, where he continued his training there. That fall, he began appearing regularly on the WWF house shows and dark matches, facing Chuck Palumbo. I remember him.
Yeah.
Oh man, we got to do something on Chuck one of these days.
A legacy?
Not
He has
not a
He has a
legacy.
CrossFit gym in San Diego. Random fact.
Nice. So there you go. Steven Richards, another fun one, and Sean Stasiak, but mostly wrestling in tag team matches. Orton's promotion on the main roster made him a member of OVW's now legendary class of 2002, as a part of what has now been dubbed as the OVW4, alongside John Cena, Brock Lesnar, and Dave Bautista. So wait a minute.
And all those guys, man.
Yeah,
At the same fucking time.
That's ridiculous.
I know.
Yeah, it's kind of gross. It's just a,
Lightning-
just a plethora of talent.
Lightning
at that moment.
strikes 4 times there. Huh?
All right. Orton's first televised WWF match was a victory against Hardcore Holly on SmackDown. That must have been tough for him to swallow. On April 25th, 2002, soon after, Orton became a face and was placed in a series of matches with Holly.
At 240 pounds, Randy Orton. Well, this is Randy Orton's debut. I want to wish the kid luck. Hey, it appears to me that it was Mr. McMahon's personal assistant, Stacy, who was enamored with Randy Orton. Well, not the other way around. Wait a minute. Randy Orton was fondling State, came on to him. You see what he did, Cole. Now, this is Orton.
Within weeks of his debut on the Raw brand, Orton suffered a shoulder injury, leaving him sidelined for months.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is certainly a privilege for me to introduce this next young superstar, the newest member of the Raw roster making his debut tonight. I knew his granddaddy, Bob Orton Sr. I know his father, Bob Orton Jr. Please welcome the newest member of the Raw, 22-year-old Randy Orton. All right, Randy Orton, this kid is sensational. Man, what a Cooper, Eric Bischoff.
I love this segment. While recovering, Orton still appeared on Raw, where his own Randy News Network,
Yes.
RNN segment, a weekly vignette.
You remember that? Cuz I fucking don't even remember.
I have no clue.
I've seen it on.
I don't know how I
on-
don't. I just don't remember it.
I didn't remember it when it happened, but I've seen it on the network, and I've gone back to. I'm like, this is golden. This is amazing.
Oh, yeah, he was so
I was
Yeah.
typing up the notes. I'm like, what am I?
Yeah.
What am I typing right
It's
now?
actually
Like, what the
really,
fuck
really
is this?
good. But this is where his heel work was kind of coming in, and he didn't even know it because they're like, "Oh my god, I'm so annoyed
Oh,
with
he was a
Randy
natural.
every week with his RNN stuff." And he was talking about his condition. Well, shoulder's a little bit better this week, and they're like, "Oh god, get
Oh,
off
it's
the
at
TV."
90%. It's at 90%.
It's
now.
right. It's at 90%.
And then the next
now.
week it's at 92.
Yeah. So the show interrupted other segments of
So
Raw
good.
programming, which caused Orton to slowly transition himself into that narcissistic and self-centered heel. You can go back and find that on a lot of the highlight stuff with Randy, and it's there. It's really good. Then this is when shed a tear. I love Evolution. I just
do too.
I really love Evolution. And Joe, before you get upset, I'm not comparing to the Four Horsemen. It's just really good. Okay.
They're just
You
an
can't
extension
compare
of.
them to the four.
Hey, I like that. They're just an extension of. I'll take that. We don't have to fight today.
Yeah, they're the
That's good.
DLC.
All
to
right.
the-
They're just the 2000 version of the Horsemen. It's
There you
cool.
go.
No worries.
Joe, I love
Yeah.
you for that. I
Yeah,
love you
hug-
for saying
yeah.
that.
Hugs and kisses.
Arguably better.
You
So
take
hugs
4,
and
and then you
kisses.
just make an E and turn it sideways, and that's evolution.
That's,
It's just an
how you
extension.
do it. After Orton's injury, Orton joined the Evolution stable, which consisted of Ric Flair, Triple H, and the relative newcomer Batista. The group was pushed on Raw from 2003 to 2004, with the height of their dominance occurring after Armageddon in 2003, when all of the men's titles on Raw were held by Evolution members. It's just, this is amazing story writing. Triple H,
I love it.
probably, taking all the credit for it, but it was still really good. With the help of his stablemate and mentor Ric Flair, Orton defeated Shawn Michaels at Unforgiven for the first of
Good.
many high-profile matches billed as Legend versus Legend Killer. I love the Legend Killer gimmick.
Oh, yeah.
During this time, Orton began using the move that would become his signature finisher, the RKO, a jumping cutter named after his initials. Guys, come on. This is so good.
So I actually took
really
exception with that because I'm not a fan
Why are you mad right now?
of people taking moves of other legends because you're reminded of that person. Like every time I see KO do the goddamn stunner now,
Oh,
I'm
yeah, I
like,
hate that.
oh, you remind me of Austin, who's better than you. Sorry, he's more well known, I should say, and more of a legend. And you took his fucking move, and then that also reminds me of how good shit used to be, and it's not now. But so when Orton took that move, I was like, why is he doing the goddamn diamond cutter? Like, and it just kind of became its own thing, and he sort of he sort of stole it, which DDP will tell the story that Orton did talk to him about it, I think. But DDP always gives him shit about it because he took a while to talk to him about it.
He should. He should.
Because DDP did the same thing when DDP was getting over in WCW. What helped him before he really landed on that? I don't even know what DDP's gimmick ever was, like what it ended up being. But Eric Bischoff makes me laugh because they talk about before when he was trying to find, he'd come down DDP with his sunglasses on. He would come down with a fucking cigar in his hand. He would come down with gold chains on. And he was like, dude, he was just a walking fucking tchotchke shop. And he's like, I hated it. I would tell him all the time, would you pick a fucking gimmick? And so then he finally just started like wearing regular tights. But his whole thing was, I'm going to get you with the diamond cutter. And once he trimmed all the fat and started putting this move over, and there was a series of nitros like that went on for a couple months where you tuned in and, oh, fuck, DDP's wrestling. He's going to try to hit it from a different angle, whether it's catching someone off the top rope or whatever. Yep. So when Orton took it, that's a big shoes to fill when you take that. And he did the same thing with it. Like, then he also took it on in the age of viral videos where everybody knows about the fucking when RKO to nowhere became a thing.
Using it.
Yeah, it's just kind of it's ballsy to do, and then he did it and did it better somehow.
I was gonna say he did it better. Right?
Crazy.
That's what I was gonna ask you. Yeah,
he's more known for it now.
He's more known for it. He kind of really did take it and know it.
You almost forget that what DDP's finisher was. Like,
and DDP did great with it, but Orton just did it better and got even more innovative and more athletic with it. Sorry, Joe.
That's why
I see you.
It's I mean, there's always an evolution in wrestling, there's nothing ever new. It's just kind of stuff that gets repackaged a lot. The DDT gets used, the whatever, blah blah blah. But like there was something about Orton and the way that move, and maybe it was because it was a little bit more the viral nature of it. That DDP was using it in WCW for the most part. That it didn't get as attached to him. I mean, we know it's from DDP, but like, if you ask most people about that move, like their first and foremost is going to be Randy Orton. Why that is. Who knows? Like you look at like the sharpshooters. That the sharpshooters.
I was just gonna say that. Like Brett was ballsy with that. Well, I mean, Brett is come on.
Yeah, Brett is
There's
Brett.
very few that are better than him in the ring.
Yeah.
But like he took that from Sting. Sting just never talked about it. That was just his finisher.
Yeah.
Brett, when he adopted
Brett
it, he
took it from Sting.
Yeah. Sting Scorpion Deathlock was like since the late '80s. Like
Sting been doing Scorpion Deathlock since
then.
'87.
Brett adopted it.
I never knew that.
When he went on
like 5 or 6 years, he'd been using it for so. There's a natural progression of it.
I didn't know, guys. I just
Get your
didn't know.
facts straight, Craig.
You're screwing yourself right now, Craig.
I thought it was the same time.
What I thought was funny about Orton too, as I was watching matches yesterday, is that every so often, like you attribute what kind of the stereotypical professional wrestler looks like from each kind of decade. If you look at the 70s, it's like, oh, it's Bruno Sammartino, this kind of like big, burly, like out of shape, super hairy,
out of shape, in shape.
Yeah, you go to the 80s and it's a Hogan. Then you go to the early 90s and it's a guy like I always thought like Hawk from the Road Warriors looked like a professional wrestler, the hair, the body, whatever. Mm-hmm. Well, all of a sudden you progress a little bit further and you get to Randy Orton, and even in his the first few years, he looks like what all professional wrestlers are going to look like in the future. It's like the tattoos, the body frame, the look, the movement. They just looked like it was almost like you were watching the new prototype for a professional wrestler and what they're supposed to look like.
You can argue he's the blueprint now. Yeah.
That's a criticism of Randy, is that he made it look too easy at times, and when he's unmotivated or whatever you have, but he was so smooth, whereas everyone else looked a little clunky. As maybe he was always too crisp and always too technical. And I'm sure we'll talk about it later about his ethic and motivation and that kind of thing, but he does make it look effortless, and maybe
he's the
Randy
only guy
with his body.
He's the only guy that reminds me of Roberts. Like when I watch him, like he is so fluid. Roberts was so good. Like when you watch Jake Roberts do stuff, like you're like, God damn, like he just had that movement down. He understood, like when he was picking an opponent up, Jake knew how to make it look like he was picking him up, and everything that he did. Orton's the same way. When he just started, when I see him live, I'm like, God, he's good.
Even the waiting game that Orton plays, when his victim is down, he's ready to sign off. He knows where the camera is. He knows what the expressions he knows when it's going to hit. Him and Jake get that.
I think the reptile and snake references come from their movements, not necessarily because he's a viper and Jake was a snake. It goes the opposite way.
Michael Cole slithering like a viper. You know?
It's like like he's a snake because he's so fluid, because he's so like slithery. Like that came first, like Jake did first. It's not because he's trying to be snake-esque or reptile-esque or whatever. It's
and like both of them,
and of course Vince didn't get that, so Vince was like, "You need to bring a snake down, Roberts." Like Roberts, like, "Fuck, okay, whatever."
Bring a cobra down.
That's right, exactly what happened.
Randy,
like, damn it, I gotta bring.
Can you imagine if they made Randy bring a snake down?
He probably pulled
Viper.
Randy the Viper, intimidating fucking thing to bring down in the ring with you. Is a Viper.
I think
bring a Viper down, Randall.
I think they just need to hire Jay back for 6 months and let him be in Randy's corner for a big push and just drop him. You know,
I bet every 2 years Vince was like, "Are you ready for the snake? You're ready for the snake."
Randy's like, "Vince, no, thank you."
We still got Jake's bag. It's in the back.
I'm pretty sure the snake's still in it. It might
bag,
be alive.
cool.
I'm not sure. He, being Randy Orton, defeated Rob Van Dam for the Intercontinental Championship at Armageddon in December of 2003. What is it, Craig? Rob Van Dam.
Arcade.
With this win, Orton started the longest Intercontinental Championship reign in 7 years, holding the title for 210 days. Whose title will never be broken?
Everybody knows the Hong Kong Man's the greatest Intercontinental champion of all time.
That's right. just by the reign.
Don't even try. Please.
Nobody's gonna break that record. It's never gonna happen.
Van Dam, man, he got taken right off that. Oh, the RKO! Out of nowhere! Orton got the RKO! He's got both legs up! And Orton wins it! And out of nowhere!
And the new Intercontinental Champion, Randy Orton.
I'm in shock! We got a new champion! Mick Foley actually counted 3, JR! Well, ladies and gentlemen, it is Sunday,
Orton continued to establish himself as a legend killer throughout 2004, challenging the semi-retired wrestler Mick Foley. This gets fun. Famed for his brutal, hardcore matches and ability to handle excruciating pain, Foley challenged Orton to a hardcore legend versus legend killer match for his Intercontinental Championship, which Orton reluctantly accepted. At Backlash, Orton defeated Foley in a hardcore match to retain the Intercontinental Championship.
That was the pay-per-view right after WrestleMania 20. And I mean, God, like they served up Orton's push here for him. He obviously came through.
Killing legends everywhere.
He obviously came through because you get, a lot of people can look at it and say he was handed everything. I'm like, yeah, but he's got to deliver.
Yeah.
So he took at the time, he took a more well-known wrestler's finisher. He starts getting, I don't think the Viper stuff started coming in here at this point.
No.
But then he gets named
later on.
Then he gets named the Legend Killer. And then they put him in the ring with all these legends. Oh, you're just handing him all these gimmicks. Yeah, but he's got to make you believe. And when he spit in Foley's face and kicked him down the fucking stairs of the arena,
that was awesome.
like, oh my God. Like,
that did it! The RKO on the baseball bat! That did it! You dance with who brung you?
Here is your winner, Randy Orton.
The legend killer lives! Oh, this was unbelievable! Well, we said...
and of course, credit to Foley, but Foley was way past his prime
He
here.
throws Foley's head into the concrete, and Foley doesn't even put his hands up as his head hits like the side before he goes down the stairs.
Because they were, they were handing Orton all kinds of, here's the key to the city, here's the key to the city. But if Orton doesn't know what lock to put it in, it's not going to work. Like, so he figured it out. And, Orton did.
What were some of the other legends he took down along the way? Not in matches, but
I know Jake he did. He cuttered Jake and
he spit in Harley Race's face.
Yeah, he spit in Harley Race's face. Of course, Slaughter, because it fucking bore me with Slaughter.
I mean, there's a lot of people that got a push that didn't deserve it, like, and who couldn't do anything with it, and like, even look at like somebody like Goldberg. Goldberg's a terrible wrestler. He's awful. He's totally sucks. But like, he got a big push for no reason other than he's he's just a big monster. You know,
Yeah.
like at least you're giving Orton the push. He had the ability to back it up. You know,
See, and I am, and in certain cases
wrestle in the
too,
ring.
Orton became the #1 contender for the World Heavyweight Championship after winning a 20-man battle royal on July 26 of 2004. At SummerSlam of same year, Orton defeated Chris Benoit for the championship, thus becoming the youngest world champion in WWE history at the age of 24. It may be a while before. Is that broken? That is not broken to my knowledge, right? Or did
no, Brock was the youngest, and then he beat Brock.
He beat Brock. Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Space. He rolled through it the second time, and oh my God! RKO! RKO out of nowhere! RKO out of nowhere! Orton's got the cover! Oh my God! He's done it! Randy Orton has done it! Destiny New World Heavyweight Champion, Orton! Look at his face! Look at your face, KO! You can't believe it, can you? It's happened! We have a world heavyweight champion with the suddenness of a lightning, the RKO from nowhere. Oh, this is too good to be true. Yes.
Like Brock was 25 or something like that. I think.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible when you think about it.
So, and this is where, man, like, well, Dave, go ahead, read on, Dave.
The following night on Raw, after Orton successfully defended the title against Benoit in a rematch, Evolution threw Orton a mock celebration only to reveal that they were not pleased with his new victory. While Batista had Orton propped on his shoulders in elation, Triple H gave him the please thumbs up and then abruptly changed it to a sad face and a thumbs down, which was followed by Batista dropping Orton to the mat. Triple H, Flair, and Batista attacked Orton in the ring, resulting in Orton being kicked out of Evolution. A month later, Orton lost his World Heavyweight Championship to Triple H in an unforgettable
that's weird.
Oh, that's
Really?
funny.
Oh, that's weird.
That's odd.
After
What a great
interference from Flair,
storyline this was, though.
Those Canadians, let them see what a real champion looks like. There you go, Batista. Boy, JR, wait till next week in Anaheim when Randy Orton walks that aisle as the World Heavyweight Champion. What a racing that'll be. Back in the good old US of A.
So, you know, like,
Yeah,
I mean, such classic, like old school. I mean, it's like a classic. I mean, it's obviously the classic, like Horseman story already.
It reminded
Like,
me of the
was a-
Sting and the Horseman story.
Yeah, it was a Sting. You know, it's like, if it's not broke, don't fix it. You know, just change the names.
My big problem is, you know, but here, so I'm
That's what I loved
wrong.
about it, honestly.
I'm wrong because later we would understand that Orton was not, he was his own worst enemy, you know, partying too much and just fucking not caring, having a bad attitude. I think that might have been why they took the title off him so fast, and it was Triple H. Because as a fan, I was like, okay, so Triple H should have been kicked out of the group. And Triple H should have turned face, and that's just the way it should have done. He's the or if you're gonna kick Orton out, give him some dignity. Like Flair stood up, or Sting stood up to Flair and said, "I'm here to win the world title. I don't want to just forfeit my championship shot," because Sting won an opportunity at Flair's title.
Yeah.
And Flair's like, "You need to back down. It's all about protecting me and the Horsemen." And all the Horsemen got in his face, and he's like, "No, I'm not. I'm not going to back down. I'm a pro wrestler. I want to win the world title. Like this is what I'm here to do." Like, and Orton should have done the same thing. They should have at least written for Orton to do the same thing.
Right.
And then if Triple
That's
H
the point.
turns on him, that's fine. That's fine. I wasn't opposed to Orton being a face or heel here, but like the way they did it, it's like Orton wins. He wins the rematch against Benoit. They put him on their shoulders and they're celebrating. And then Triple H did the classic, "Hey, good job." And that was a signal for Batista to drop him backwards. It was a cool, I mean, the crowd popped.
But there was
for
no
sure.
payoff because then a month
But
later,
yeah, there
then
was
he
no
loses
payoff.
on top of
Yes.
it.
There was no
No, you're
payoff.
right.
And yeah, Triple H did it. You know, they should have given Orton more dignity. In other words, like Orton should have said, like, well, you know, fuck you guys. Like, I'm not going to, you know, give Triple H a title shot just because he's asking me. Like, you know, like I'm the world champion. Like I have other people I got to defend the title against. Like, so like, you know, stop. You think that I'm just going to give you a title shot and let you try to take the helm again? Like it's my time. If
And
he
they
was
could have
acting like,
interfered for 3 to 6 months with
Yeah.
that until they finally.
and then
just showed
Triple
up
H
and
could have
shot.
been like, you know what, man, you're right. I'm sorry, dude. Fuck it. I'm a dick. You're right. You're world champion. You call the shots around here. Evolution's yours. And then they did the thumbs down thing. And then I'd be like, dude, what a dick, Triple H. What an asshole. Like, you know, then I'd be like, dude, Orton's a babyface. But instead, they completely, I didn't see it coming. Did you, cuz? Like, I didn't see them dumping Orton out of Evolution at all. I remember watching that Raw and then seeing him up on the shoulders. And I'm like, oh, little fucking heel celebrating. And then they did the thumbs down thing. And then Batista falls back and bashes Orton's head. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I mean, I was shocked for a second, but then the way it played out afterwards, I'm like, you made Orton look like a pussy. Like,
once he was on Batista's shoulders, that's when I knew it was going down. But not.
Did you? I didn't even pick up on it.
I was like, oh, they're gonna drop him on his fucking head. Yeah. Like, why else would you put him on his shoulders with one guy? I'm like, oh, they're gonna.
And maybe I missed, maybe on SmackDown or something leading up, they were showing dissension or something. I don't remember any like dissension ever.
I remember it being very quiet. Like they weren't coming out with him. He was kind of on his own and was kind of doing it. And then once he retained, and they all came out to finally say, hey, good job. And then they turned. I don't remember anything about them talking to him or anything like that.
Side note, I definitely enjoyed those matches with Benoit. That was awesome.
Oh yeah,
right. Right.
So good.
Dude,
you mean John Smith?
Yeah. I'm gonna say
I
his
think I
name.
just snorted a bit right there when you said that. Terrible. Orton would begin to turn heel in the beginning of 2005. He called out The Undertaker and challenged him at WrestleMania 21.
Side note right now, this is my favorite part of Orton. I mean, I like a lot of stuff he did after it, but this feud with Taker that lasted like fucking 9 months or whatever it was so badass. Like, my God.
It was so good.
Orton, his dad got involved, so good.
Yep.
All of it was good.
Yeah. In the weeks leading up to WrestleMania, Orton became more defiant and unafraid of The Undertaker, taunting and assaulting him in the ring following distractions from his father, Cowboy Bob Orton. Put the cast back on for old time's sake. At WrestleMania 21, Orton lost the heavily hyped match. He rekindled his feud with The Undertaker, defeating him at SummerSlam 2005 following a distraction from his father. 2 months later at No Mercy, Orton and his father, Bob Orton, defeated The Undertaker in a handicap casket match. And after the match, Randy Orton and his father, Bob, locked The Undertaker in the casket, chopped holes in the top of the casket with an axe, poured gasoline over the casket, and set it ablaze. Kayfabe killing The Undertaker.
I don't know why I had to put kayfabe.
Well,
I felt the need to put, just so you know, he really didn't burn him.
He really didn't burn him. There was a drop box at the bottom of the casket. He's okay. Yeah. That's how they got him out of there and rolled him out from under the
Dave, you're revealing the magic. I advise you to stop.
Okay, well, you said kayfabe, so that's on you. Jesus. The Undertaker, however, beat Orton in a Hell in the Cell match at Armageddon, ending their 9-month-long feud. When has there been a 9-month feud
in modern wrestling? You know, God, go back and watch the WrestleMania 21 match. It's one of my favorite Undertaker streak matches. It's actually one of my favorite Undertaker entrances. He fucking floated down to the ring. It was awesome. Not from the ceiling. He floated across the floor.
Yeah.
And Taz the whole time was like, he's not walking. Like
he's floating. He's floating.
It was great.
Like, what?
And that was an excellent match. Cool. I remember a false finish where he picks up Orton for the choke slam, and then Orton RKO'd him out of the choke slam. That was amazing. Yes. Like, and everybody thought that was the end of the streak. That was like a major false finish. And then, but Craig, of all people, I don't know why I use the all people thing. Like, nobody else would have got this. But he, that same weekend, that WrestleMania weekend, Bob Orton got put in the Hall of Fame. And, so the Undertaker match happened, and Undertaker chokeslammed him at one point during the match of WrestleMania. And then Orton came out later, like, you know how they parade out that year's inductees later. They're like, ladies and gentlemen, let's bring them out. So it's a couple matches after the Undertaker match and Orton match. When Bob Orton came out to, get his accolades, he put his hand up in the air and he goes, oh. And Craig looked at me and he goes, what a fucking pro. Like, he sold the chokeslam. Oh, like, even when he was out on stage to get his Hall of Fame. It was fucking beautiful. It was great.
Legendary sign. He's not going to tombstone. He's going for the tombstone. Oh, no. That's the Undertaker move. What the hell? And Undertaker reversed it. Look at this one. Johnson pile driver. Wow. Here's a cover. Goodbye. He got him. What a match. 13 for the Undertaker. Man. The big show. The Undertaker.
It was awesome. Yeah,
And
that's
there's a
great
moment.
night. All the matches.
There's a moment
that
on
they
SmackDown
did.
when when Orton backs up the car and Undertaker's on the back of the car, and it looks like he's
Yes.
going so goddamn fast, and he backs up to the SmackDown set, and like the car like it goes on fire. It was amazing.
Yeah,
Like,
they
it's
did a
good
lot of
pyro
really cool
and-
stuff with Bob and
Yeah, their
Randy
feud is
against the
awesome.
Undertaker and Undertaker. Yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff. Like it was all their matches were good too, especially the Hell in a
yeah.
Cell match was excellent too.
Yeah. In 2006, after the newly reformed D-Generation X, Triple H and Shawn Michaels cost Edge the WWE Championship, Edge approached Orton and asked him to join forces to defeat the team. Orton, whose championship reign had been ended by Triple H in 2004, agreed, forming the tag team Rated RKO.
I loved it.
This is
Fucking
a lot
great.
of fun. The two defeated DX at Cyber Sunday with the help from some special guest referee Eric Bischoff, becoming the first team to defeat DX since their reunion. They quickly dominated the Raw brand tag team division.
Right in front of Bischoff. What the hell's up with that? The RKO on the chair. This is a no disqualification match. Orton's got the cover. Bischoff's got 2, 3, and Orton and Edge DX.
Here are your winners, Edge and Randy Orton.
Well, I think it's safe to say, JR, that the official in this match, Eric Bischoff, has officially screwed DX. That wasn't.
To become the World Tag Team Champions by defeating Ric Flair and Rowdy Piper. Wait, what?
Yeah.
In
Fucking
2006?
great. You goddamn right.
Ric Flair and Roddy Piper are World Tag Team Champions. I just have to pause and acknowledge that in 2006. Okay.
That was only Piper's second title ever in WWF ever.
That's insane. The other one's the IC title.
Awesome
where-
reading that, huh?
The first one was
Awesome
actually-
reading those names.
Come on, man.
Come on,
Like,
man. Here we go. After
Yeah,
the
we'll do
ratings-
it tonight, Rick. You want to go there? You want to talk to the guy? first?
I
off
my
the
second
Viper.
title, man. Two titles. I thought it was
Jess, you can't do Randy without doing Rick. So go ahead.
I don't know if I can because I've been sick. Do you want to go? You want to talk to him? Do you want to lay the match out? You tell him I said we're going over. Like that was.
Oh
that's what-
god, that's perfect.
So that's those two talking in the back, and then they go in the back and they talk to Edge, Randy Orton, and explain.
so good.
And
What
then
do I
Orton
do
then-
about Rick's fire
Orton
out,
explains,
man?
no, we're
Fire
going
out,
over
man."
tonight. You're not going to go over. Oh, come on, man. It's bullshit, man. Vince always fucks that little guy, man.
Whoa.
My payday was super small at WrestleMania. I'm not happy.
After the reign of Rated RKO ended,
I don't know if you know this is only my second title, man. I don't know if you guys know this.
During this time, the commentators noted how Orton slithered around and stalked his victims like a snake.
There it is.
This led to the Viper becoming a nickname for Orton. At the start of No Mercy of 2007, Mr. McMahon awarded Randy Orton the WWE Championship.
Here you go,
which
pal.
John
Are you ready for
Cena
that Viper now?
Yeah.
Here's the championship. You ready for that Viper?
Here's your bag. Take the bag to the ring.
Was this
We'll get the back.
Orton lost the title to Triple H in the opening match, but regained it later that night in a last man
Triple
standing
H.
match.
That was a
After
good match,
losing-
too, if
Yeah,
I remember
that's
right. Yeah.
I mean, those guys. I mean, Triple H doesn't have bad matches, but there's something special when those guys
Yes,
get
he
together, right? I can't. They have the history together. It really does feel like it gets personal.
Craig, can you talk on Triple H and his legacy real quick?
It's so good, right? He loves Triple
Yeah.
H. Oh, it's terrible.
I just disagree with Triple H having bad matches. He does.
Climbing to the top, he paid for that risk that he was willing to take to become WWE champ. Scoop! Orton introduced to the ring post. Hey, roll up the cradle. Yes! He the champion. Look at this. Look at him, his stomach.
Here is your winner and the new WWE Champion,
Can you believe it? History has been made.
He does have bad matches.
Yeah, he does.
But these matches are exceptional, right?
Is this what point in his career was
Jericho.
he handcuffed to the rope and Stephanie? They finally acknowledged the Stephanie Triple H marriage and he was handcuffed and that whole angle. Was that right here or is that a little bit later?
Oh, fuck.
Shit, I
I
don't
know that
remember,
it
honestly.
culminated at WrestleMania with Triple H won for no reason.
Oh, that's weird.
Another
Of course.
So I can't remember what WrestleMania that
That's strange
was.
that Triple H would have gone over. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's-
yeah.
That make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember what WrestleMania that was.
After losing the WWE Championship to Triple H, he
Probably
would
right
try
there.
one last time
Oh, he
to
lost?
regain it at One Night Stand on June 1st, 2008. During the match, trips threw Orton over the top rope. Orton landed awkward and broke his collarbone.
Probably on
Not
accident, though.
kayfabe,
Probably on
for
accident.
wheels. This was for
Wow.
wheels.
So Triple H went over, and on the next match, he throws him over and
And then hurts his
accidentally
elbow.
breaks
That's
his
weird.
collarbone.
This is probably-
Yeah.
Mm.
Upon being medically cleared to return to the ring, Orton was re-injured in a motorcycle accident.
Well, that's what you do. Is right when you heal from a collarbone, you get on a fucking motorcycle.
That's
That's
what
fine.
you should do.
Actually, I think Hunter let him borrow his Harley. He's like, hey, brother.
that he claimed was all tuned up and ready to go. Nothing's
Like,
wrong with it.
it's all good. I just got it from the shop. Runs like a dream, buddy.
Brake lines are good. I haven't cut them at all. Anyway, talk to you next week.
New tires. They're not bald. It's cool.
Anyway,
Orton
talk to you
returned-
after you recover. I mean, see you next week. Everything's fine.
He returned to Raw on September 1st, 2008, criticizing all the champions, including World Tag Team Champions Cody Rhodes and Ted DiBiase, who he berated and slapped for letting Crime Time steal their belts. Well, Crime Time was a legitimate organization.
We're throwing the word
Okay?
champions around pretty loosely at this point with Cody, with
This
Crime
inspired
Time,
them
Cody,
to
and
try
Ted.
and gain Orton's respect, thus forming a new faction called the Legacy. At Night of Champions on September 9th of 2010, Orton won the WWE Championship in a six-pack challenge elimination match. Is that real? Is that a real thing? A
is.
six-pack challenge? Like, I feel like beers were brought
Yeah,
to the
no, they
ring.
do. They all drank, and then whoever passed out
Oh,
first.
okay. All right. Let's make it.
It's like Power Hour,
This is
but
the
you know, in the middle of the ring.
Cuz am I right in thinking that the Legacy or the faction, the Legacy, could have had better legs, that they didn't use it right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
For some reason, I feel like it fizzled
Yeah.
out fast.
it was yeah.
It was such a good idea.
So underwhelming.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a great idea. I don't know though. I mean, it was underwhelming. I feel like they kind of went out like pussies, if I remember correctly, because I was
Whoa.
kind of starting to get back into it.
Well, didn't
'cause-
Orton beat him? He beat him in a handicap match at WrestleMania, right? Or something like that? Like to end it?
Damn it! I thought it was. I want to say
Yeah,
it
I
was
think
something with
so.
McMahon's too, though. Something happened.
maybe.
Or no, they fought McMahon's. I forgot exactly because that was when I was kind of like in and out of WWE by that point, during 2008 to 2010. So, but I just remember them being really lackluster. The Legacy.
Streets. No. Orton counters. Orton. Orton pins the man who cost him the WWE title last month in the chamber. This match. Randy Orton. And Randy brought out the big weapon.
Yeah, I just felt it was, for some reason in my mind, I'm like, that was a good idea. And it just
Which,
didn't
yeah,
do
exactly.
it.
It's a great idea. Fucking great
Yeah.
idea. So,
Sorry,
So
Dave.
transferring back to Orton winning the championship on November 22nd.
What kind of match did he win in?
A six-pack challenge elimination match.
Pack
However,
attack.
on the eve of November 22nd, 2010, episode of Raw, after Orton defeated Wade Barrett in a title match, he lost the championship against The Miz when he cashed in his Money in the Bank contract. On August 18th at SummerSlam 2013, Orton had turned heel after he cashed his Money in the Bank contract on Daniel Bryan, who had just won the WWE Championship and had been subsequently attacked by special guest referee Triple H, who also counted the pinfall to give Orton his 7th WWE Championship. That's what you get for being Daniel Bryan, folks. That's what you get.
He ultimately got paid off.
He's fine.
Not paid off, but I mean, like, you know, it paid off.
They took care of him.
It
Yeah.
did. I remember being
he
so
got injured a
angry
month
about
later and had to
this.
be out for a year.
Oh my God, no. Oh my God, no. Hunter, what are you doing? Ring it. Hunter, what are you doing? This matchup's underway. Bryant's out cold. Randy Orton has cashed in Money in the Bank. Randy Orton is a 7-time champion.
And new WWE Champion, Randy Orton.
Oh my God.
Out for a year.
I remember seeing so butthurt and being like, "This is just ridiculous. He's getting screwed." Like I was completely hooked in on this and like not. And
so
Triple-
mad about it.
to his credit,
People
Triple
were
H was like,
pissed,
just
It was great
dude. People were
storytelling,
so
actually.
mad online.
they were like,
too.
just wait till the full story. We're like, "Fuck
And
you,
it
full
started
story."
back at SummerSlam. Yeah, it started back at that SummerSlam way before WrestleMania 30, and like it built for like fucking like 8 months.
Yeah.
Or
they
something
did a
like
good
that.
job there. Building, that was the last time they built a long-term storyline that good.
Because you're doing a good job. Sorry, I couldn't help it. You just said they did a good job. I don't know.
They did.
Sorry. Too much Instagram on this side. Like, ladies and
It
gentlemen.
is. We
The
were.
following night on Raw, Orton was endorsed as the face of the company by Vince McMahon and the newly formed Authority with Triple H and Stephanie McMahon. At the TLC pay-per-view on December 15, 2013, Orton defeated John Cena to unify both the WWE and World Heavyweight titles, becoming the first WWE World Heavyweight Champion, as well as officially being recognized as the final World Heavyweight
feel like
Champion,
we,
which we all know now means absolutely nothing.
Yeah, they'll just brand later when they sign a big contract with somebody else. They'll just brand split later. That's all.
I think we kind of glossed over a little, or we didn't even. I don't think we brought it up, but there was a short period. It wasn't a long period, but it was just another thing of Randy Orton when they were going through that whole when he was punt kicking everybody.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
that was
How good
around.
was
I thought that was a legend killer phase.
No, that was.
No.
Was it the Legend Killer? Cause
It was after. No, it was. It was.
Because it
a little
wasn't
bit
that
after.
was
putting out,
during
like,
the
he was
Triple
putting
H
out
feud.
everybody?
Because I remember
Well-
him setting Triple H up for that punt. Like
And
I
he
think
did
that
it
was
for
during
Vince.
that time.
He did it to
Yeah.
Vince too. I think that was when. Isn't that when he kissed Stephanie and RKO'd her and all that shit?
Yes.
Or when he RKO'd her and then he kissed her. I think that was
Yeah.
that same segment where he punt kicks Vince. He takes out Shane, and then I think he RKO's Stephanie, and then he kisses her when she's like passed out or whatever, knocked out on the ring or
Or didn't
whatever.
he DDT her on the ropes,
It
which
was-
is another
yeah,
great
there
move
was-
of his.
I mean,
But that's
guys,
what I'm
this
saying.
is
There's
something
that
you
whole-
could have brought up in pre.
No, I know, but that's what I'm just saying. Like we totally like
No,
passed over.
yeah,
Like, that was a
because
When
little-
you look at the
Yeah.
notes, you
That
could have
was
said,
just
"Hey,
another-
this isn't here," and we could have added it.
That was
in.
Oh,
just
he didn't read the
another-
notes, Dave.
I didn't.
The
But
fact
I'm
you
just
even
saying
said
that's
that,
another
I
little
wanna-
like how he went from the the Legend Killer. The
I want to hit
Viper.
stop on the record button just because you said that. Fuck. What are we doing?
That was kind of my
Notes.
point. Thank you, Jess, for making my point.
that was
You're
another
lucky he
thing-
found his holiday RKO sweater.
Yeah, he did.
in storage.
That was,
no,
another
and I
thing,
did-
though, that
and I
Randy
It took
did
him
Orton
as I
was
all
good
day.
with,
It took him
though.
all day to find that sweater.
As I
That
was
was
typing
another
up the
thing-
notes too, I was like, man, the punt part. I knew that I was like
Yeah.
forgetting
He made
that.
that its
was
own
a big
thing
part.
for a while. He made that
Yeah.
thing its own
Dude, by the way,
thing
go
for a while.
look at YouTube clips of all the punts. I don't know how
brutal.
he faked half of them. When he did John Cena's dad,
Oh yeah,
the punt kick to the head, like how do you I know you catch the side of the boot or whatever, but it looks so incredible every time he did it. And obviously they stopped it and banned it because everyone at home was doing it and killing their
Trying to
friends.
really hurt
kick their
people.
brothers in the head.
But it was fantastic. The
one
whole
to
punt
Vince
kick phase.
looks fucking bad too. Like looks like he fucking really knocked his ass, which I think he probably did. Vince
Yeah,
probably
yeah.
said, "Do it for reals."
It's,
Yeah.
it's the little things. Like who would have thought just a punt kick? It's
what I'm saying.
great though.
Totally passed over that shit.
On August 23rd of 2016 edition of SmackDown, Orton accepted a challenge from Bray Wyatt at the Backlash pay-per-view. Orton faced Wyatt at No Mercy, where he lost due to distraction by the returning Luke Harper on the October 11th episode
No
of
mercy.
SmackDown Live.
Rest in peace.
Orton was teamed with Kane in a tag team match against Wyatt and Harper, but once again lost the match due to distraction by Harper. On the October 25th episode of SmackDown Live, Orton interfered on Wyatt's behalf in his match with Kane, leading to the speculation that he had joined the Wyatt family, though this was neither confirmed
Another thing.
nor denied by WWE or Randy Orton. On the November 1st episode of SmackDown Live, Wyatt and Harper helped Orton win his match against Kane, thus confirming Orton's alliance with the group, turning heel in the process.
So I
Then-
liked the angle of all this, but their execution, all their matches were shit.
Yeah,
Because they tried to gimmick them. They had the fight for Sister Abigail in the house, and then remember the WrestleMania match where they put worms on the
worms.
ring.
That was
Didn't he
stupid.
Like,
pin him with
fuck,
a fridge
like-
in that match too?
What?
In
Say it
the
again.
house? He
Say-
pinned him with a fridge, I think.
Yeah, something.
That-
It's like an abandoned house. Their
that's a
old
testament
house.
to like Orton too, though. Like he's like, oh, this new guy, I want to work with this guy, and I want to, I'm open to his ideas.
I
of
love
what
the
we're gonna
angle.
do.
I love the
Yeah.
whole him. Like it was cool.
The No
but-
Mercy match was good because it was just a normal match that Luke Harper interrupted in.
Yeah.
That match was good. I actually enjoyed the whole like Randy being part of the Wyatts. I thought like I liked the whole angle with that because the whole thing was I believe Eric Rowan, Luke Harper or Rowan, one of the two. It was the whole thing was like you can't trust the Snake, you can't trust him, and that was that whole thing until Orton eventually did.
You ready
turn
for the
on.
snake, Randy?
Yeah,
You ready for the
basically,
snake? I'll bring out the snake.
Yeah, okay. On February 28th of 2017 episode of SmackDown Live, Orton turned on Wyatt while Wyatt was delivering his promo and was seen entering Wyatt's compound, where he claimed that despite being in Wyatt's home, it was not his home, and declared his intentions to burn the soul
Oh, Jesus.
of Sister Abigail.
Did I say I like the angle?
I think you like the angle. He then set the entire compound on fire.
That was well shot,
After
though.
stating-
I mean, it sounds ridiculous talking about it, but it was well shot, and the fire was
that was
legit,
well done,
and the
yeah.
angles of Orton kind of doing his thing. Like,
And he would face Wyatt at WrestleMania 33,
Orton was
turning
good in
face again.
In a worm match.
Hi. Okay. All right. On the March 7th episode of SmackDown Live, Orton defeated AJ Styles to become the #1 contender for the WWE Championship. On April 2nd, at WrestleMania 33, Orton defeated Wyatt to win the WWE Championship for the 9th time, which was also his first WWE Championship win at WrestleMania and 13th overall World Championship. He also defeated Bobby Lashley at Fastlane on March 11, 2018 for the WWE United States Championship, thus becoming the 18th Grand Slam champion in history. So that's US, IC, Tag, World title, right?
And IC. Or you said IC.
Okay.
Yeah, you said yeah.
I said IC. God damn it. All right.
But I think,
hold on.
world
Wait,
heavyweight,
what?
the world heavyweight champion, WWE champion, United States, Intercontinental, and
IC.
Tag. Yeah.
Yep.
but not Raw and SmackDown tag.
Didn't matter at that
He
point.
would eventually win that later, but
Yeah.
I don't think they'd done the brand
At
split
that
yet
time,
here.
it didn't.
The second brand
At
split.
that time, they might have had 2 tag team championship. At SummerSlam 2021, RK Bro defeated Styles and Amos to become the Raw tag team.
We were there for that,
champions.
huh, Jess?
Their
That was a good
first
one.
Reign.
Opened up the show.
Hot match.
Before
Hot
I,
opener.
before I get into the championships, awards, and accomplishments, which there are plenty of, one
There's
thing
two of
I
them,
just
Matt.
wanted to point out that I absolutely love about Randy Orton, and it's such a small footnote in Seth Rollins' history. You guys know what I'm talking about? Which WrestleMania am I talking about?
31.
Seth Rollins. Is it 31?
Yep.
Yes.
San Francisco.
The
Yes.
RKO off the
Yep.
curb stomp.
It is. We talked.
Yeah.
You guys really talked about all the variations that Randy Orton uses to hit the RKO, and if you go back and watch that WrestleMania match that Seth Rollins actually loses, then cashes in his Money in the Bank to win the championship there at WrestleMania 31, that curb stomp pushing Seth, like basically plummeting him way into the air
Yeah.
and RKOing him is one of the best RKOs you will ever see.
That's in my top 5 Randy Orton matches.
Well,
too.
that and the
match.
Evans
Oh.
Orton. Yeah, that's a great match.
That's the thing. I know, Jess, you're trying to cut this into pieces that are relevant, that matter to now, or are big. That to me is just the one thing that I wanted to bring up that wasn't in the notes. I love that whole moment. That's a WrestleMania moment in my mind.
Oh, yeah.
That's
For
all
sure.
Seth, by the way. Like,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
for
Yeah.
when you
Just
go
take-
back and look at
Whoa,
Seth,
whoa,
how
whoa,
he
yeah,
does the
you're
curve
right.
and jumps up off his head.
Yeah.
Lands on his feet, rolls through. Randy Orton went for the RKO. Rollins countered. Oh, Rollins again to the midsection. Rollins may have Randy in position for another curb stop. Oh, RKO! Oh, my unbelievable counter! Oh, my God, unbelievable! What an RKO! What an RKO by Orton! And Randy Orton wins! What an RKO! It's WrestleMania!
Here is your winner, Randy Orton.
Guys, Randy Orton and
But
Yeah.
still, the fact that you plan that, it's the greatest RKO over. Like the elevation Seth gets, it's
Oh,
perfect.
yeah, it's fucking awesome.
It's so good, and it really does. It's the definition of out of nowhere, if that makes any sense. I love that RKO. I just wanted to throw that in there. You really need to go back and watch that match. Like the match is well executed too, but the finish even outperforms the entire match as good as it
Oh,
is. Absolutely incredible. Go back and catch that. Just wanted to bring that out there. Anything before we get into championships, awards, and accomplishments?
One more
Gentlemen.
RKO to go back and watch is him versus Evan Bourne on Monday Night Raw. I forgot what year it was.
Oh
but
yeah,
where Evan Bourne does the shooting star press and then Orton
and
catches
then
him.
Orton catches.
He
Yeah.
him.
Holy
catches another
shit,
shooting
really?
star. Are
He
you
pops up
serious?
off the ground. Randy Orton was laying on the ground.
That
He pops up,
that
boom.
ranks right up there with the Shelton Benjamin Shawn Michaels super kick.
Oh God, yeah, yep,
When Shelton, like that, those are the two. Like people are like, "What
Yeah.
are good Raw moments?" I was like, "Those are the
Wow.
top two. Like,
yeah,
Shelton Benjamin's got a lot of moments.
yeah, he does.
We have to dig into
That's
that one
good.
day. All right. On November 29th of 2021, the Guinness Book of World Records has recognized Randy Orton as having the most pay-per-view appearances by a male wrestler in WWE history with his 77th appearance. It came on November 28th of 2021 at Survivor Series. Way to go, Randy. Good accomplishment. Nice work. Woo.
Again, and we talked about this before we hit the
Better than
camera,
Hogan.
and we joked about saying things like we talked about this before we hit record. But we would think in this era, he's only been around 20 years, but there's been a lot more pay-per-views and a lot more Raws than just Randy's 20 years. And that's a testament, I think, to his full-time status, the quantity of matches that I think Randy has, as opposed to a lot of part-timers that could have caught it. I mean, you always think of the Iron Man of all this matches as Kane, and for Randy to kind of overtake him just now, like, and you kind of forget, like, you almost forget about his legacy, and I think that's why it's important that we kind of do this. But like, what a record, and kudos for someone for bringing it up, and Jess for kind of encouraging us to kind of do this in respect of Randy. Yeah.
Oh, it's amazing. On top of that, on the November 29th, 2021 episode of Raw, Orton wrestled for the 437th time on that program.
Better than Hogan.
This has set another record as having the most matches by any performer in Raw history,
which was previously held by Kane.
Yeah, and that's saying a lot, because a lot of people get switched from Raw to SmackDown, and they'll never be able to accomplish that. And Randy was able to do that. It's pretty amazing stuff. So here we go. Here comes the championships and accomplishments. WWE. He was a 10-time. He is a 10-time because he can still do it again. WWE champion. He held the World Heavyweight Championship 4 times. He's held the IC title 1 time, which is kind of surprising to me. He hasn't been more. They really jumped him into the world title fold quite quickly. It's incredible. Like 1 time, and 1 time for the United States Championship as well. World Tag Team Championship 1 time with Edge. He's the Raw Tag Team Championship 1 time with Riddle. That's current right now. He's also the SmackDown Tag Team Championship 1 time with Bray Wyatt and Luke Harper. Oh, were they doing
I think we're switching around, yeah.
All right, buddy.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, good for them. Money in the Bank winner in
R.I.P. Luke.
2013. He's a 2-time Royal Rumble winner in 2009 and 2017.
For Randy.
He's the 17th Triple Crown champion, which has a lot in this era. He's the 10th Grand Slam champion under current format, which is the 18th overall. We're going to get into PWI stuff here now. Feud of the Year with Triple H in 2009. Most hated wrestler of the year 2 times, 2007 and 2009. Good for you, Randy. Most improved wrestler of the year in 2004. Most popular wrestler of the year in 2010. Rookie of the year in 2001. Wrestler of the year for 2 years, 2009 and 2010. Some back-to-back stuff. He's also most improved by the Wrestling Observer in 2004. So way to go, Meltzer, to give him that accolade, that one accolade.
Do it, cuz. Not a 5-star match, but if his name was Randy Omega, then he would.
Yeah.
Randy Okada.
And can I interrupt, Dave, while you're talking around the accomplishments, and ask the group just kind of, why is he... I wouldn't say he was underrated, but why is he underappreciated and he's not on the pantheon, on the Rushmore of wrestlers that we think of? Why are we only talking about Randy
probably
now?
Because we're all used to the Stone Colds, the Rocks, the Hogans, the Warriors, the Machos. You know, those are like... I don't know, though, because Randy, he's kind of broke that, like, in the pop culture now because of those RKO viral videos. I don't know.
It's the memes. Yeah, the social media stuff.
I guess the RKO stuff is great on YouTube. You got to catch those. Those are fantastic. I think the thing about Randy that makes the most sense with it is he came up with everything, and he's gone through everything, and he's almost just like, well, Randy will be here. Randy will take care of us. And we've said it on this show, and it's hard to say because I think we all love Randy Orton, but Randy Orton has never had what we consider like a 5-star match or an A+ match. And I know it's hard to say. He's come like right there, like the A, yeah, and maybe because disagrees. The A-, the 4.8s, whatever. He's come really close, but there's never been that epitome moment where he's reached it. But again, because that might be your opinion, but I think several other opinions are that he has not.
Yeah.
And why are we talking about this now after 20 years? It needs to be said, right?
I think too, he falls into the, and we were talking a little bit about before we hit record, was that when you look at Randy Orton, you almost expect more from him. I mean, to look at his list of accolades and like his matches and everything, like
his hierarchy.
It's a career filled with great matches, a career filled with championships, a career filled with like amazing WWE movements. And for whatever reason, with Orton, you still expect more. I don't know if it's the way he looks, if it's pedigree, if it's his family legacy, if it's the fact that he looks like he's chiseled from stone. I'm not exactly sure, but like there's still something that's like it's like I want more from him.
Well, I think,
and I'm not exactly sure why that is. I'm sure not why other people don't fall in that category. Where like a Chris Jericho doesn't necessarily fall in that category, or obviously he's not he's not in the echelon of like Stone Cold, Hogan, Rock, those people. I mean, they're not. There's only 5 people that are in that tier, but like, I think maybe we expected Orton to be in that tier, and that's really unrealistic expectations.
I think the reason why mainly is because we skipped over it, but he did have like a 6-year period where he admits he was his own worst enemy with his attitude, partying and all that stuff, shitting in divas bags, like stuff like that. He
always comes up.
So a lot of the times, like in 06, 07, 08, when we were frustrated that he wasn't put over, I think it's because he was his own worst enemy. We would know that as watching because we're not backstage and we don't know that. So I think that shaved a lot off too. And for me, I think he was never given the run as the top guy for an extended period of time. Yes, he was the undisputed final champion, but that was just set up so Daniel Bryan could win at WrestleMania 30. He always was kind of like this. He's been decorated like crazy, like, like the best Christmas tree ever. But at the same time, like he never was, it was always like Cena's era from like.
Christmas tree always came down in January.
It was John Cena from like 05 to, 2010, whatever. And there was never, they never pulled the trigger with him and said, you're our guy. And I don't know if it's because he couldn't do it. And maybe that was right during his problem times too.
When you're comparing it to Stone Cold, Macho Man, Warrior, Hogan, Rock, there's one thing that all 5 of those guys have in common. They all were pushed and successfully as top baby faces. Randy Orton's just a natural heel, and whenever they tried to push him as a baby face, it wasn't natural. It just didn't work.
I think that's when Vince wanted to put the rocket on him.
Yeah, but you have to also consider there's a lot of people that fall. I mean, CM Punk would fall into a natural heel, and he for whatever he obviously like struck gold. And
people still
they were pushed as baby faces, though.
I would say why did CM Punk gain the popularity, or even a Daniel Bryan gain more popularity than Orton? Was it?
You're trying to say Stone Cold was a baby face because it's not the case. He was run as a heel for a long time.
No, I get it. Him. Yeah, well, and then he was a baby face, though, and he was the top baby face. They all were the top baby face.
He's like.
They all,
because there's honest something there, because Vince always wants that.
It's not
That's
exactly
what Vince wants. Yeah, he wants Yeah, go ahead.
But what I'm saying good. I was gonna say as part of it too is though if he's not naturally a babyface, the performance is not gonna come either.
Right? You won't buy into it.
And exactly.
Yeah,
I think they've never wanted to give him the store and the keys to the entire kingdom just because he's Randy and he's never been any different. Like he was the first time, he was one of the first athletes to get that bus and protect his body and protect his longevity and not willing to give up everything to just have the brass ring and to have that long reign. Like I think Vince knows him as an incredible hand, and whatever you want to do with him, mid card, upper mid card, he is game. And I think the respect of the last 5 years of Randy making everyone else from Bray to AJ to Riddle and how this kind of plays out. Like I love the last 5-6 years of Randy.
Oh yeah.
And even all through his all.
Are you saying Randy is Vince's utility belt? Is that what you're saying? Like
he might be like
anything,
but he's not the guy that Vince and Triple H and whoever would say and because he's never willing to sacrifice 1,000% or maybe take off for either his daughters and he's cared more about family toward the end. But and I kind of respect it. Like Randy's always kind of been Randy, like a Shawn Michaels that wised up earlier than Shawn Michaels wised up. If that makes any kind of strange kind of sense. But
I don't know how, I can't put a number on it, but now it's way more friendly for somebody like Randy who can get personal time in because they do sign part-time contracts. There was a time in the sport where they were like, Vince is like, nope, you're wrestling full-time for me, or you're not doing it at all. Any promotion, actually, the NWA, WCW, you had to wrestle full-time basically.
Yeah.
The
300
weird
days out of the year.
The weird contracts came along with the Hogan, Hall, and Nash, and that started then, and then it just kind of changed the industry, sort of bleeding out from that. And then people got a bad rap because those contracts, you just give the old guys those contracts because they can't fucking go anymore. But now you're looking at people like Edge, who had to retire for a long time, for like 8 years, because he got a career-ending injury. But now he can come back and be like, well, if I only have to wrestle, 6 times a year, I can still be impactful. I can do promos on Raw and still be relevant, and then I'll have a killer match, rest for a couple months, and then come back and do it again. I think Orton is wrestling less now, and he's in tag team, which is way easier on his body.
Yes.
So I think that Orton,
It's a good point.
it's a perfect, and plus too, like over the last 6 or 7 years, I don't remember, Orton remarried. It seems like he's really centered now. He's not like this immature guy anymore. He's really proud of his family and like his stuff. And, I think he's a locker room leader now, which before, when Vince wanted to really push him hard, he wasn't ready to be that guy. Like there's very few guys back there like a Triple H or like an Undertaker that understand like the politics of everything, and then they know, okay, I got to keep this person in line, got to do that. And then you have the rogue guys like Michaels was in the first part of his singles run, and what Orton was here. You just kind of have to be humbled, and then you can come back and be like, oh, fuck, I get it. And like I said, the contracts are a lot more geared towards a guy like Randy now. They're not like, let's put this on the old guys. They're actually putting them on guys that are relevant. And I know Edge is getting up there in age, but I use him as an example because like now this is perfect. Wrestling part-time is perfect. We want to still see Edge. We want to still see Orton. We don't want.
I've been saying it for a while. Those guys should rotate contracts in and out and keep them on minimum contract, and then let them get hot again as they come back. It's
why I said that in the beginning.
Edge trusted Orton when he came back from that long layoff or whatever.
He's the guy you wanted to work with.
Yeah, it was Orton.
And all of them.
I wonder if somebody.
Go ahead, Joe. I'm sorry.
Oh, I don't know if like Undertaker pulled him aside and was like, "Listen, like I'm not going to be here forever. My leadership role is going to fall to you," and that kind of like got him straightened up, because I mean it was last 5-6 years, like you definitely saw like a very different Randy Orton. Whether like his in-ring interactions, his dealing with like the younger guys, putting people over, that sort of thing. That somebody had like essentially pulled him aside and straightened him out.
For audio fans, give us an Apple, Spotify, SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, and Google Podcast.
Dave,
or watch our videos on YouTube at our wrestling channel.
Dave.
On social media, can you do us a favor and
Keep
give
going,
us a
Dave.
follow
Keep
on
going.
Instagram or Twitter at O.W.P.
Listen to Craig.
Are you
or
ready for
on
the snake, Dave?
Facebook.com/meta at Our Wrestling Podcast. Before we go, Craig has something to add.
Burlap sack, Dave. Are you ready for the snake?
To this day, he's just a senile old man back there. Like people just come up to him, Vince, what do I got to do? What do you got to do?
You gotta grab the sack. Oh,
You ready for the snake? Like, what the fuck does that mean? Say it to everybody.
and you just see people laughing around Vince, going like,
Wow, Vince, so old and funny.
Austin Theory stole my golden egg.
Someone else will take the snake.
Oh my God, the golden egg bullshit.
Yeah.
Jeez, you know who lays eggs?
Snake you are. Wait a minute.
all right. For Joe, Jess, Dave, Craig, and Cuz, this is the O.W.P. signing off. Have a good one. Ride the snake.